Okay, so it's 4:14 on the 27th. And I was watching videos at 4:13, and then I thought, okay, at 4:14 I'll stop and start videotaping, because sometimes I have to cut off myself. I'll just keep watching them because you have to go through like 100 to get to one. But there was a bunch of stuff I saw this morning though. You know, one thing, hold on. It's like the perfect temperature right now. One thing is that gets me is I don't understand how people think that Donald would come in, make his platform, is going to drain the swamp, he's going to get rid of all these people, and bring attention to a situation that most people had no clue about. Most people didn't know there was any kind of traffic problem, which is so much deeper, because it goes so much more into the trade industry. But most people didn't even know that that problem existed. So why would he draw attention to it if it were him at the front and center? And why would he run around doing all of these arrests on all these people that were his associates? Like, it makes no sense. So to me, it always just kind of floors me when people keep thinking that this is, I even saw it, like, and this is something that people just get so hung up on, this fucking list, which, do they really think every single person that went to some of these parties partook in every single situation that happened? No. I mean, Jesus, every single party that you've gone to in your life, have you just done what anybody else was doing? It's like, I don't know. There's like a lot of things where lures, you know, draw people in and stuff. But anyways, there's the whole thing of Elon in 2014 was on that over and over and over. It's like, I don't know. I don't know what he's done. I don't know his fetishes. I don't know any of his weird shit. It's like we don't know any of these people. But there's so many more people. And it's just like the ones that are these certain group of people, that's the only name they're looking for. It's just like blah, 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 zone in, blah, 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 zone in, blah, 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 blah. It's like, what about all these other ones? Like, I don't know. It's just like you're so focused. It's like a dog with a bone. It's just so focused on this one thing. It's like, maybe he is, you know, this is all to expose him. And maybe it's his redemption to expose the crime and the money. I don't know. But it just is weird when those people are just like, oh, that's the name they're looking for all the time. It's just this name. This name. That's, I knew. It's like, I don't know. I have no idea. But I do know that it makes no sense to me whatsoever that the person who's made that his mission is going to be at the top of the list everywhere and be best friends with Jeffrey and stuff. Like, that makes no sense. And but you know, it's the like the catalyst, the precursor, the thing that draws these people in. Because it's like when stuff started going around, when we started hearing, and I mean, for some of us, it was so many years ago, we started hearing about this stuff, and then we start trying to tell people, and they all think we're wacky, and then, so they just kept going about their life, just kept ignoring it. So there has to be something that pulls them into well, it's a possibility. Maybe this is happening. And it's just weird how they have to create hate in order to get their attention. It's just like, but I'm telling you, it has to do with something deep inside them and their code and who their soul is. And this is the time of the cleanse. That's how I look at it. It's so much more of a cleansing of your soul. That's the main thing that's going on. And Hold on. I'm going to try and finish this. I don't know if I can finish this one, but it's really good right now. I always think I've got all this powder, which I was just upstairs and I was looking at my tooth in the better light. And it does have a dark spot. Every time it gets real dark inside, then you can see like the depth to the hole. So there still is depth in the hole. There's still a pocket. But eventually, eventually it will close and be back to a tooth again. I feel pretty certain about. So anyways, God, my nose. I swear to God. Well, I know that, you know, all the time, just being poisoned all the time. From wherever it comes from, somewhere in the environment. I limit the foods I eat. And so it's like, but, you know, I mean, it's in all the food and shit. So, but always having the allergies and whatnot. And then whatever, going on this trip and getting so sick. And it just feels like that the sickness just did something inside of me. Like it weakened some part of me or something. Like this thing started breaking out so bad. This throat thing that just won't go away. But it could just be on top of just the allergies just came right. I don't know. It's just like, fuck. It's just this fucking nonstop goddamn sickness. It's so wacky. And when they very first said, hey, everybody, we better get these. You know, we got this deadly sickness. And I was like, no fucking way. But I had perspective from being a nurse. And that they would make us get these ones that were for the FLU every year. Because, oh, you gotta get prepared. And I would, I might have got it one time or something. And I was like, I don't need this. But there would always be all these ones lining up getting it. And every time they would all get sick after they got it. I think, what is the point of getting this thing if you get sick from it? But what really got me was when I asked about if it was live, VIRUS, in it. Because the premise behind many of these things is we're going to give you a little tiny bit of it so your immunity kicks in and is prepared for if it encounters more. So you build up so that going around somebody, it won't have an effect on you because your antibodies have already kicked in and they're already out there and recognize like, no, you're not getting in here. And so I asked and they said, oh, no, there's none of that in there. I was like, what? And then what? How are they like, what? That was when I was like, okay, there's something weird going on here. And that was before my brain injury. Because I was still working at the hospital. So it was, I don't know, it's weird. It's like this world kind of knows when you start figuring shit out. So it starts trying to get rid of you. Because there's such weird shit. And like I saw this video yesterday talking about this guy. He's from the 70s. And I don't know the whole story. I don't know his name or anything. But it was some guy. And he ended up being like a big sci-fi writer or something. But so this situation happened. And he was like talking to somebody or something. Or somebody came to his door or something. And all of a sudden, it glitched. This thing glitched. And he saw beyond the illusion. And so he started trying to tell people, like, we're in a, in a simulation. This isn't real. And he started pointing out all these things. And so they started saying, you know, he was crazy and stuff. But then he started having certain organizations really be up his ass. And so there was a lot more to the whole thing. And then there was more things. Maybe it was in the 90s when he started writing the sci-fi stuff. But he was trying to tell people, explain things. And he was saying all these things that we've all awoken to, or we've all started realizing. And then at 53 years old, he just died for no reason. So, but I don't know. That's the thing, is this system, this simulation, this however it works, is it's like a self-preservation or something. It's like it's trying to keep itself alive. And so it pushes out what is the enemy, kinda. But we're at this time in an evolution of this system breaking down. Like, it's been going for however long. I mean, we don't really even know, because there's all these resets and there's no real linear connection between the windows of time. So it's just like, this video game started and we all came in for that. And this video game started and we left and went into that one. And it's just all these different ones. So, but they've had this system going a long time, and it has been a lot of negative. There's so much negativity that people feed in themselves. That's the thing, man. After yesterday, after what I said about some of these people, like, get lost in the dark energy, and then they become dark energy. Because the dark and the light both have to grow equally. And it's so weird. Because the dark and the light both have to grow equally, otherwise it gets out of balance. And so in the bigger scheme of things, the dark has to be equal to the light. And the light is always expanding, so the dark has to be expanding as well, in order for the universe to truly expand. And so it's just like right now, there's so much evil, like, being shown. Like these people. This video, this kid, a 19-year-old kid, dropped off in front of a hospital, all drugged out and stuff like that. So they start trying to figure out, like, what's going on. And then I guess the cameras picked up these kids dropping him and taking off. So they start doing an investigation. And the family, I guess, said there's some shit on Snapchat, which there's a lot of shit on Snapchat. And people think Snapchat, it's there for a second and it goes away, so they think they can get away with stuff. But there's just a lot of people getting busted off of it. So I don't know. I'm not on Snapchat, but there's something weird about it. But anyways, so what they found is that they invited this kid to a party. They got him there, and then they tied him to a chair. This is like, I don't know, 6 or 8 boys tie this one boy to a chair, which I think that there's a different color between them. I think the bigger group of boys are light, and the one in the chair is dark, which then that turns into a hate crime. No matter, if it were all dark-skinned boys tying down a light-skinned boy, that would equally be, because it's a group of you that is attacking a different one of you. So that's a hate crime. And so, which, I mean, that's one thing about our system, that they don't allow certain hate crimes, but they do allow other ones. So that's all just shenanigans. But anyways, but in this one, so they tie him down to a chair. They start forcing all these drugs or pills or something, which a whole bunch of different ones or something. And he becomes unconscious, and then they start doing all sorts of weird shit to him, torturing him and shit, spray painting him, all sorts of weird shit. So what? I don't even understand. Like, what? Why? What is the drive? What would even make you look at somebody? What would even make you get in a group with people and them start talking about hurting somebody and you going like, yeah, that'd be fun? Because there's been a whole bunch of these groups that go and get one. There's another one where I had heard something about this one too, but where I was hearing somebody talk about it was the celly of the girl. So one of the girls. So this girl she was a prisoner in a certain penitentiary for burglary or robbery or something. Maybe she's one of these or something. Whatever. She had like 8 or 9 years. And then this other girl, her Sally girl, she was involved with a group like this. Only it was a, co-ed group. It was boys and girls in the group. And then they lured a boy who was the ex-boyfriend of one of the girls or something. And so they lured him out, and then they took him and they did, horrible, horrible crime on him. And they did a bunch of torture, beating, and stuff like that, and then they executed. And then they, I think, threw him in a hole or buried him or something. Anyways, they all got caught. It was like 5 of them or something. And they all went to jail. And I think they all got like life. But this one, the Sally, she, turned state's evidence on the other ones or something. And so she got less time. And then I think that she had less time, but then she got fucking Casey Anthony's lawyer. That guy, he's just like, get fucking goddamn. Like, just because you can, I don't know. I mean, some of these people get up their ass like, oh, well, it's the legal rights. Well, when you're looking for a loophole to get somebody who's committing crimes off, like, give us a fucking break, man. Then, oh yeah, guys, there's a whole nother story on those. One of those people who was a fucking monster and got his crimes expunged, and then they didn't know, like, there's a whole story about him. Like, they want these certain criminals out there, these immoral people. And so he got her off this thing, and so the girl that was in the cell with the burglar girl was like, how in the world does she get less time for committing this heinous crime where somebody's life is ended and I'm still, and I have to do my whole thing and be in there for robbing? It's like, because it's bullshit, man. It's fucking nonsense. But in the concept of crime, I talked about, and I'm pretty sure this is the lady. There's always been a lady in the CARTL that is the most heinous of all. Like, everybody's scared of her. I think this is her. And I think she's called El Diablo. And so the devil herself. And but there's been other movies and stuff about her. But, a lot of people think like the CHRTL is all these psycho men who do horrible things to people. But she was a leader, so she didn't just get people to do the work. She'd step in. Like, she would do shit too. And there could be 2 of them. This may not be the one, but they put her in things about movies. Even that movie I was talking about the other day about, what was it called? It was part 2, and I watched it when I was in Dallas, and it was, and I said it was just one fight scene after another fight scene. I was like, I don't get this movie. It's a lot of fighting. Mr. Nobody, I think that's what it's called. Mr. Nobody part 2. And Sharon Stone plays this, she, I think, is the representative of this super evil CARTL woman. And so anyways, but they've represented her in a lot of different movies. So I think it's just one, but there could be more. But anyway, she just got arrested. And she was taken down by our officials in America working with the ones in Mexico. So the combo took her down. She's arrested. And more things are coming out about her crimes. And so she would, like find a lady who's with child. Then they would cut the child out and sell it. And then they would take the parts out of the deceased lady, and then they would sell them. So that's the trade industry that I'm talking about. It's a lot worse than just going and pleasuring yourself with some, gets worse and worse and worse. These people are, it's just that, and it goes all the way to the top. Like this video I just saw of this guy, and it is, he was stopping every, this RABBI up there on the podium. What is that? The podium? They call it something else. The thing that they stand up there, the pedestal. That's what it's like, a pedestal. Like, put them on a pedestal, put them above us, make them seem to have power and dominance over us. But boy, whatever is going on in the real has really got people noticing. It's really got attention. It's really on the hot topic out there on social media. So, so this RABBI, which is also a female, is her sermon. Oh my God. Like I said about Finkel, that guy. But it's not just him. It's like they're all fucking evil. They're fucking evil. And but they think they're over us, they're above us or something. Just the way, I think them calling us Gentiles or something is like a kind phrase instead of, but it's very like, like we're garbage. Like the same with their whatever it is, our gurum, whatever. It's in the way they spit words or something. I don't know. I don't like the way they sound. Which yesterday, the leader of the Real was over there. He had some long speech, and I don't know. I didn't hear it or anything, but to me, he's part of the stuff. I don't know. Maybe he's just to show us what the evil is, and he's really one of the good guys. I don't know. But religious people are very unsupportive of that place because they are the chosen people and all that stuff, but they turn a blind eye to a lot of things. And that's why there has to keep being all this stuff coming and coming and coming. It's like you can't turn a blind eye to shit, man. You have to turn and look at the things you don't want to look at. You have to turn and question. You have to look at things. Otherwise, you're staying in stagnation. So, this RABBI, she said, human sacrifice, that's just the way it goes. Like, that's what we got to do. And, we shouldn't be thinking that that's wrong. We should just, we gotta give to this God. I'm not even shitting you. This was for real. Like, there's all these other RABBIs up there. They're all up there talking, and she's out there spouting this shit out. Like, that's why, I've said it's like this, such a primitive kind of like, we gotta throw this virgin into the volcano so we can have a good crop this year. Well, that's perfectly fine. That's normal behavior. Like, that's what we need to do. I mean, our God expects blood. We got to give him somebody. He's not giving him ours. We're giving him ours. So, anyways, there's no hiding. Like, it's just coming out. It's just, I don't know. Some of these people, did they mean to say something different? Is it just falling out of their mouth? They can't control it, or is it just, I don't know. They've always been able to kind of hide their evil for so long, and we all just played along. But now it's just like, well, they're just coming right out and saying, what's got to be done's got to be done. Hey, we got to kill this whole fucking group of people, and that's the way it is. God's okay with it. It's like, I don't know what your God is, who you're worshiping, but I don't know. Like, that's what I'm saying is like the creation of the darkness. It's like, are some of these people being, they are the dark. Maybe that is in this simulation, that is a part of our the part of the challenge is that we are actually up against the darkness in a whole nother level. Like, they come in as players, and we've got to overcome them, override them. We can't be sucked into their world or something. But I don't know. It's just weird, because if you think of this place being like a school where we come to learn, and then that would be, the light would overtake the dark, and then there would be no place to learn or grow. So it would become a stagnant universe. So it has got to have the dark for the light to go in to find the balance. So there has to be the dark. So it's like you have to have the two, the AC and the DC. You have to have both. Like, just in a world, just think of it in a world where there became way more women than men, then we would be out of balance. Like, things would get weird. Men would start having thousands of wives or something. Women would just, whatever it took, because otherwise there would, I mean, just go into it. It's like, I don't need to explain it. Just let your mind explain it to you. Go in and sit with it. Go in and think about it and see. Like, things would get real out of whack real quick. It would lead to all sorts of crazy shit. So there has to be this equality. And we can even see in the sense of humanity, when things become out of balance, in the sense of equality, of how crazy things get. Like, you get people jumping on and deciding that this person has no value and they can do whatever they want to them. And we have that with animals. Like, the stuff about the animals, it's so crazy too, because I've been saying that for a long time. I've been saying they're misspending the money. They get grant money, they're misspending it, and that they are not even using their brains to think about how to do things better, because they don't give a shit. And I knew that there was something about them, that those, where people think like that they are cremating all this. No. I mean, even where people are, that don't have anybody that comes and claims them after, they go to these places and, they're part of the Soylent Green. That's what they become. And that's what these dogs. It's really disgusting too, is because there's all these girls showing all these pictures of all these ones, and it's just like, oh, I could not eat ever another piece of meat. You just, that's what you're eating. These little eyes looking at you with desperation, as they are maintained and corrupted and corralled by humans that have no fucking morals. And it makes you wonder too, those people that know where they're putting that, do they eat that stuff? Are they like, well, it's good, well, guys keep eating, so we got to do something. It's like, well, we could be doing a lot of different things. Like, this is the limitation of thought that is bound by their manipulation. This is where the instituted indoctrination shows it's the problem behind it. Like, because if you think that that's the only way to feed the masses, it's like, tell them to go out and grow a goddamn garden. Tell them to get on the fucking stick and take care of themselves. That's the fucking main thing. We don't need the goddamn corporation stepping in. Well, we got to do what we got to do. We're going to give you a little poison over there. We're going to give you some dogs over there. Give you some cats, some rats, some squirrels, and give you fucking Joe next door. It's like, god damn. But I had seen also, because my guys always bring me stuff throughout. And then when I see certain things, I see more than what I see. There's like, I see external and I see internal. And so I had seen that video talking about how they make bacon and it's made out of DOGs and not PIGSs, which really is it, you know, is that better? I mean, pigs are very intelligent. So we're still deciding that you have no worth except for my meal. So I don't know. I don't know. Everything, what I do know is everything is to show us, to question things, to really look at it like that, you know, like, yeah, well, looking deeper into things. And then there's, you know, there's some people you try and tell them, but they're like, well, it tastes good. Well, I got to just, you know, feed myself, feed me the things that taste good, and I like it, and so I don't care. I'm not going to question it. Which I think that's where it's going to hit hard, is it's going to come in from the back door. They're not going to see it coming, where it's going to all of a sudden be like, because it's been coming leaking out. You know, the leaks have sprung, but it's going to come onto the main stage. And then once there's no denying it, and then you reevaluate. So I've been eating, you know, Betsy down the street. I've been eating Susan. I've been eating the dogs. I've been eating the homeless people. I've been eating this, that, and the other. It's like, oh, man. And I thought it tasted good. It's like, you know, some of us have been trying to tell you, watch out what you eat. I say if it doesn't grow out of the ground, you might want to pass by. Because, yeah, I mean, go listen to the Al Finkel. He tells you, you know, we like to grind it. We grind it into our sausage. Like the way they talk, I don't know. It's really heinous to me. It sounds like monsters. Like, yes, we'll grind it into the sausage. It's like, you'll eat it. We just need the parts. We need the good parts. You get the rest. So, anyways, this place is just so creepy and corrupted. But so it is kind of like, maybe it is some of these, because I don't know if it's like souls become lost and entrenched in the dark, or if they are just players of the dark. But I mean, I know the dark has to grow just like the light. And I know there's a lot of us here that are growing, and that's the sense of ascension, the expansion, the evolution of the soul, and which to me is what creates another, like a big bang. It's another energetic surge. I think of the separation between the two opposing forces are going. It's the whole thing with the pole shift, all of it. It's all the same thing. It's the micro and macro. But the two opposing forces, which right now we're in it, and it's like a storm of energy, which creates this chaos because we're all bouncing off of each other because, you know, we are all in the same pot. And so the evil, it can be right next door. It can be right, you know, it can be anywhere around you. And so you could be of one energy and the other energy in it, but we're all around each other. There's all these energies going. And so that creates this tension, this storm. And then the power when the two separate, that's the pole shift, that's the separation, that's the split of the energies pulling apart from each other. And that is the idea of the light, the positive, all coming together and going together, and the negative all going in together. So it's the bang, the big bang of the creation of more universe, more. Yeah, it's weird. Sometimes I see things on a level I don't know how to explain. But yeah, it's like it makes so much sense of the separation and the expansion of the two energies when they separate, that becomes this explosive energy that brings on more worlds. But that is where, oh yeah, so, oh, okay, so, okay, man, some of this stuff. Okay, so you think about a cell. Look, you have a cell. You have this little energy. Okay, so like they tell us that you have this. The female has this egg, and then the male has the thing that fertilizes. So that's an expression of the two coming together. Okay, so then that's the life, the big bang of existence, life. Okay, so then in order to so in order to grow is the cells begin to multiply, and then you have given birth to, is that, and to me it is always like a new reality. You're giving birth to a whole reality, and so that reality goes, and then it has to align itself. It has to find its own balance. And so let's just take this idea of, so we have all these different souls, everybody's out of balance, and everybody, all the things happening around them are to help you find your balance. But there's so much distraction. The people are lost. They don't know what they should really focus on. But there still is that the things are forcing it. Like the universe is still forcing this, this setting your moral compass, deciding on your empathy and compassion for others, deciding on your resentment and hate and stuff like that. So there's still these things happening that forces you to look at things in a certain way, even if you don't realize like the purpose behind it, and you really take the time to sit with yourself and reflect and understand. And so the forces of these energies going, and then the separation occurs, and then the energies go out into creation of these other realities, and because everything is a creation of another reality. And so then this age of Aquarius, what is labeled, is this reality of heaven on earth, of abundance, of living free, and all that stuff. So that's the birth of a new reality. So then in that reality, then the energy is of this certain thing, but at some point there becomes a difference, which creates a spectrum, which creates a pole, which creates the opposites. So it's like this natural energy that constantly the universe creates itself by the coming together, and the finding the difference and separating, coming together, finding the difference, separating over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And that's this, the cells multiplying, which the cells are the souls. Like we are these energies. We are the energy of what is going on. The energy comes from us because that's what we really are. We think that we're this, but we're really the energy inside. And there's a deeper point of existence behind just trying to be acceptable by all the other beings around you. And that's what they play on, is to keep you on the surface, to keep you focused on things that don't matter, because that feeds the dark. Like, the more that they can keep people in the dark, the more it feeds that part. But also, the universe needs the dark. So it's not like you can do wrong. It's just that it's like where you exist. Where you exist is so in the dark. It isn't. It's like two different storylines playing out. It's not like one is hell and one is heaven, but one is dark and one is light. And in the light, things become easy, you know. You fly around, you go from here to there, you just exist in the sense of joy. But, you know, if you are of the dark and you exist through playing in these games, then that could seem very, like, boring. Like, it's a lot more fun to play the evil genius than it is to play the fairy. Like, the bad witch has a lot more to do than the good witch or something, you know? Which there's been lots of actors who have said, you know, that playing the bad guy is a lot more fun than playing the good guy. So if you think of that, then the people who are a sense of the dark, it isn't. I think that the thing comes from our judgment, but it is, but that none of it's real. It's all just a game. And so, and I don't know, you know, what their existence is when they're not in the game. Maybe that's the whole thing of the dark, is it is just all a game. But it's a game that needs to exist in order to create the light, in order to create balance. Because you can't have balance without both. You can't just balance the light. What does it have? The counter. You've got to have a counterbalance. So, anyways, but the dark is definitely showing itself at this time, which would make sense because the light has to separate from the dark in order to create the next expansion. And so yeah, it does remind me of the moment a sperm meets an egg and develops into a new reality, a new being. And so this two energies is I don't know, I guess it is kind of as chaotic as, you know, all, you know, 200 million sperms trying to get into one egg to fertilize it. So it is like that kind of chaos going on right now. It's like the fight to exist, the fight to be who you are, to be real. But really, we're kind of using the dark to create ourselves, to give ourselves the concept of what is real, and to it's to exist. But it's weird because I think that it seems like people get lost in the game, but when you come out of the game, like, you're not stuck in the game forever and ever and ever. But unless, I guess, if you are a dark player, but each time a game ends. But see, that a lot of these dark players, though, they don't end in the same way. Like, they don't leave. They stay. And then they're, you know, to us having everything we want in heaven and being kind to one another, that's like boring to them. When they can just suck the life out of everybody else and feed themselves, then I guess that's the expansion of the dark. But they don't go through the same kind of cycles. It's not the same kind of cycles as like what we go through. We go through these different life cycles and go through different experiences, and then we learn and we grow through the knowledge of existence, of awareness, of yeah, I'm hearing all these words, recycled, the but the ability to learn from situations is the expansion. So, but there's not like a huge pressure on you, like you're a big loser if you can't, because you have eternity. So you can go through thousands of lives to learn one lesson. And you play all different parts. You don't get to just go in and just play the good guy. You get to be the princess every year, every lifetime. You're just the good one. No, even if you go in and you're the princess, you're going to have like an evil father who, then you have to decide, are you going to also, do these evil things? And everything carries some sort of repercussion, some kind of pressure to to get you to align to yourself, to create the question of morality, of where do you align with. And the thing about the positive, it doesn't want to hurt others, so it doesn't want to take the life of others. It doesn't want to suck the life out of others. It wants the freedom of existence for all. And the dark is very much about, will suck the life out of you. You really have no value other than your energy. But they also know, in a bigger sense of things, that this is not real. I really think that. I really think that. I think a lot of people think, well, if they tell us, then they're not getting bad karma or whatever. But I don't think they live by the same kind of thing as us. The dark, I don't know, like that's how it stays in the dark. The light, yeah, it has repercussions. It's like you have to, in order to move out of the dark, you have to extinguish the darkness. You have to take responsibility. But that's something that they don't do. But that's the thing, is like, that's not if you are, if you are on the level of the watchers, say, in the higher state of consciousness, then you wouldn't be distinguishing between good and evil as being good and bad, or one is better than the other, because you would see the necessity of them working together and finding balance. And what you would be witnessing is how it occurs. So it's like sitting, like the watchers are kind of like essentially sitting and watching how a motor works. Like they're watching how all the things work to keep something going, to keep the drive going of existence. So they're watching, like if you took the face off of a clock and then you just sat and watched how it works. That's what they are more doing, is watching how things work. But it is kind of like a team sport too. Like these games that we go in and do is like a team sport. That's why you have all this team around you that is better for you to acknowledge and know that you have a team that's working with you. It's not just you, because it is, and like I said before, it's even through your lineage. It's like one of those races where you hand the baton to the next player, and then they take off, and then they go their distance, and then they hand it to the next player, and then they take off. It's like the lessons are passed down like a baton, and then and then it is like this relay of the success behind which you can create change, where you aren't just doing the same thing, over and over and over and over again. I think if you take your lineage and you go, you took it and you stretched it out, you would see all the changes that occur. And what's also weird too is like when you think of your ancestry or your lineage, that how does it exist in a linear fashion when there's all these different windows of time and space? And see, that is where I think it has to do with the connection through the reincarnation. But there is some kind of a coding. There's some kind of a coding, but we aren't. There's spaces in between realities. And so, I don't know. It's weird. There's a lot of weird stuff. And I don't know how long, like when my brother was doing our ancestry and he was going back, he was like, as back as like 700 BC, wasn't AD, but AD keeps coming to my mind, but I'm sure it wasn't 700 AD, but it was, no, yeah, it would have been 700 AD after death. BC is before Christ. So, yeah, it would be 700 AD. So, but that is a lot of years to go back. But, like, when they do these resets, like, if you think of all the different land masses being different realities, different colonies, different places that different tribes came from other areas and colonized in different land masses, then so that they had more control over some for longer periods of time. And like, let's just say like Norway. Maybe Norway has been under their control for a long, long time, and that they haven't done resets. Maybe resets are on certain land masses at certain times, which begins new realities. Maybe they're not all starting and ending at the same time. It's supposedly, that we've had some beginnings and endings at the same time, but maybe that's when you lose being able to try and find how far your ancestry goes back, But the part back where there were giants, but then those the blues who say that, they go all the way back to the giants. They were ready to take them on with the Gaia and the giant, so they go way, way back. And same with these vamps. But I think that, and I don't know what the deal is. Like, I would still, say both those groups, the blues and the vamps, that they are other tribes. They aren't the original earthlings. They are just colonizers that came and decided to use the ignorance that they found and use it to control and take slavery to a whole nother level. Because the Anunnaki, they created their own slaves, but they weren't taking it to the extreme that these other beings were taking it to. And I think that's where there started being the hostility between the dark and the light, and it started separating. And the Palladians, the blue avians, there's a whole thing about the blue avians and them, because I don't know, maybe that's the true history that we'll find more out about when things come down to it. Now there's more going with this 3A, the 3I, outlet, all of that stuff that they say is going on up in space. There's a lot of weird shit. Like, if you go out and you look around the moon, there's weird shit around it. And then, which somebody zoomed in and showed like a Saturn. I don't know. There's a lot of weird shit going on. I know that. And so, but officials are saying that the people coming are hostile, and they're warning us that we better get prepared. Well, that's our government. No. We've been under the control of the hostile ones. That's who we've been already been under control. Anybody who's coming zooming in, they would be coming to stand with us on our side to go against the hostile ones. It's not more hostile ones coming to enslave us and kill us and stuff like that. So it's anybody who's doing that is our own government that is trying to keep control. So if they come zooming in, like what has been prophesized by many ex-agents, that they are going to create a fake invasion of this, when they come zooming in and we start having, craft going over us, laser beaming us and stuff, that's our own people. It's just like the same thing that happened September all those years back. It was our own people. So it would be the same thing. And that's could be the big fear thing that they talk about that is coming, this huge event where you've got to really trust that this isn't real, because it's going to create so much fear, and that's what they want to do, is create fear, because then if they take you out in this moment when you are fear, then you are more trapped into their realm, is how I see it. And so that's why you want to keep pulling yourself out. Even if you find yourself out of your body, use your awareness. Don't get lost and pull yourself free from their trap. And so, they come in and they zap your building and blow it up or whatever while you're at work, and then you're out of your body. Don't think, oh, well, I lost that game. No, use your awareness, and you're gaining awareness through all this stuff. You're gaining awareness of yourself. And so don't get lost on that like it only counts when you're in an avatar. No, you're rewriting your code. You're expanding. So, yeah, when you come out, you're going to have an awareness that you probably didn't have when you came out of other times. And so, but there's always your guides, your team, who's there to refresh you, to help you remember. But it is so much like these, it seems that there's like a tension that occurs, that once you're going in and you start going through these life cycles, that this tension begins to occur. It starts twisting faster and faster, and you go faster and faster and faster and faster. Now this is the letting go, and this is the expansion, and then it will go into this peaceful time, and then the tension will begin to occur again. And then the tension will start spinning faster and faster and faster, and then it will go again. And then it will go again, it will go through a period of peace, and then it will start the tension back again and again and again. And that's the ever expansion of the universe. It just continues to expand through the natural tension of the opposing forces. And so that's why I was like, you have to continue to have the opposing force. Otherwise, the whole way that the universe moves would begin to decay. And that's in the micro macro, that's like the never ending story. That's like the problem that we're in now, of the too much dark had overtaken. And so that's why there had to be so much light that came in to create the tension, so that it could create the expansion. That's why there's no stopping what's going on. It's a natural occurrence, and it's going to happen the way it happens. And so when we're in the process of it happening, and that's why it's hard to figure out some of the stuff, because we're right in it. We're in it. It's one thing when you can see ahead and you can see like, oh, there's a lot of problems up there. And then you go and you're in it, and you're in the problems, and everybody's like, what's happening and what are the problems? And everybody's trying to see outside of it. But we have interference with our sight and our communication, because we are in the turmoil. And then once we get past it, That's when we can look back. That's when we get our clearest view of things, is going through it and then looking past. That's where you learn the most. That's why even in the micro macro, when you're going through life and you go through hard times and you can feel engulfed by it, but if you can get yourself through it and you can get out of it and you can look back at it, that's where you can learn from it, and that's where you grow and expand yourself. So that's the purpose behind the different tensions that occur throughout your life, is because it creates expansion, and you work the same as the universe. And so everything is micro macro. Everything is an expression of everything else in different different waveforms. And so that is still the same process. And so what happens in us happens outside of us in the bigger scheme of things. And so right now, though, in the dark, where there was so much heavy darkness, where there was so much war and hate and deceit and people feeding into greed, which at this point in time, it's become like super cringy. You know, people like Kimmel and stuff, where you see, you know, what you will do for money, then in the hate. But we have that not just on big names and people who are making big money like him. We have it in the whole sense of influencers, you know, who just try to get out there and start having influence over people. And then, of course, where what is the cost of theirs? You know, what are they willing to take? And so that's where it's being exposed. All these people who are taking big amounts of money to create a false narrative over to influence, and the influence is all the creation of hate and division. Which this was something. This just shows the difference of where we're going. The people are. To me, I am sure that there's a lot of people out there who are in the power, who are reading the movement through social media, because so Chelsea Handler, which she is, you know, a part of the problem. You know, she's on one of those levels of, you know, I think her last name says what she is. And I think she's definitely on a, you know, level like, I don't know if she's as high up as like Jimmy, but she did have her own show and stuff like that. But and she was very much somebody who was taking money to create hate and division. Oh, these people are stupid, worthless people, and you got to think this way, otherwise you're one of them. And so she pushed an agenda, a narrative, and the narrative all comes from up at the top of how to control the people. And so she's going on tour. So she had a video. It was on her own TikTok thing, because it was Chelsea Handler, blue check mark. And she's all excited. You know, she's going on tour, guys, and she's talking about, you know, we're all going to get high together or something and have a good time or whatever it is. And so whatever, her little commercial to draw attention to her big tour coming. But then you go in and read the comments. Oh my God. Like, I don't even know what she had to think when she went in and read the comments. It was like, I would just not bother, check. I just wouldn't even bother. Just stay home. Like, unless you just want to go out and see how many people. Like, the same thing happened apparently with J-Lo. She went on her tour and her tickets weren't being sold. So every comment was just like, oh my God. And some of them were jokesters, you know. Like, I'd rather go get a root canal. I don't care if you're free next door. I'm not coming. Like, it was just one after another. I was reading and reading and reading, and then it got to one that was like, oh, I'm so excited. It was like, man, there's one out of like 1,000. So yeah, forget about it, Chuck. And then somebody else, and I don't know if it's on her production teams or manager or whatever the hell, so they also put out another video of her saying, oh, Chelsea's going on tour. Everybody get your tickets. They're going on sale now. And the cities that she's going to and all that stuff. And it was the same thing. Every comment was like, because people are done with this bullshit. They can see through it. You know, I've said this years and years and years ago. I said things are becoming so transparent. You can see through it. You can see what people are. It's like they can't pretend anymore. They can't pretend that there's something they're not. We see it. And it's become so visible to so many people. That's the awakening. That's beginning to see what's underneath, looking at the core and not just the surface. And so, yeah, there was all these different people, which even on Jimmy, then bringing him back, boy, there's so many people out there. I even saw Jim Brewer, the comedian, so he's like, I don't know, kind of runs in the same circles as some of these people. And he was being like, I think Roseanne too, like they have come out and said, you know, and he pulled up an oldie but a goodie on Jimmy of the hate that that guy spreads by reminding us what he said about if you don't get these, you know, you don't even deserve any medical. Like it was so hateful, so hateful. And you know, that's our freedom of choice. You know, like I said, when they started saying these, I was like, man, I'm not taking that slow roll to being sick all the time. That's what they're trying to do, is just make sickness. They're going to keep us just sick as fuck. But even not taking it, you know, they've kept us sick as fuck. So that's the irony there. It's like, even if you didn't take it, they were like, that's what got me to when people were like, because it wasn't the chosen then. What was it? It was the, they called themselves something. There was always a label. But the ones who, the purebloods, that's what it was. At that time, it was the purebloods. We're the purebloods. You guys are, and the arrogance behind that whole movement, that got to me at some point. I started being, so you don't eat, drink, or breathe, so, you know, you really believe you're pure? It's like, you really think that was their only option to get this stuff inside you? Are you joking? Like, and then, yeah, they've made it to, you know, everybody's got the allergies. It's one sickness after another. People have got all sorts of autoimmune. People have got all sorts of CAs. Like, there's everything. They've created so much sickness in us. And even when you begin to recognize where the sicknesses are coming from, it still is like a trap. And that's where it becomes very frustrating. And that's where, to me, that's your come to Jesus moment. That's where you really got to go inside of yourself and really find the peace behind what is happening. And that, to me, is where you have to really start realizing this isn't real. This is a simulation. And this is a game that we're playing. And we're here to have these experiences because we grow from them. And it's not just our own growth, because that could take centuries. It could take a lot of lifetimes. But it's the expansion of the universe. The universe depends on the growth behind the experiences. So the experiencers are what promotes the growth of the universe. And so it's very, it's like, I don't know, like being a knight, you know, for the royal family. It's like you have so much value to the universe. And that's what's so sad, is so many people living in a period of time where they feel like they have no value. It's like, because you're looking in the wrong place. You have great value to the universe. But I saw this video, and I was talking about this girl and wanted to draw attention to it because it's Mental Health Week or something, I don't know, which I thought, yeah, October I think is, well, it's like, I think a few different things, but I think it has been before, draw attention to mental health and suicide and stuff like that. But this girl, this young girl, who said that she's been alone since elementary school. She is always alone. She eats alone. She sleeps. She's never had a boyfriend, never had any friends, nothing. And, you know, she's just super sad. And one thing is no matter where you're at, you're learning stuff. So you're learning and you're growing, no matter what your situation is. And the other thing, though, is if you don't like where you're at, you have to do something. You got to make some choices or something. And to me, like if you were always alone, you always felt isolated, you always felt alone and lonely, and you didn't make a lot of friends. Because I feel like, I've always been kind of an outcast person. And I've never had real, well, I've got, my friend from when I was a teenager, but we have a lot of history, but we're, I think, different kind of people. And then all these different friends I made throughout my time of being here. But then once I got my brain injury and I saw the holes behind these relationships, then as they fell apart, I had no feeling of wanting to fix it. It was like, it's like, so it gave me new perspectives. And then when I found myself in a place of isolation, then I grew from it, because I wasn't being dependent on these toxic relationships and stuff. And I grew parts of myself that I had no awareness of. And so to me, there was benefit to it. But if you've been in that position for a long time and you need to do something different, then it is, to me, is you go and you find your interest. Like you go out in the world and you try and see, what am I good at? What am I interested in? What do I want to be good at? Maybe you want to really become good at doing pottery, which I've got interest in so many things. Like I'd like to go do that. I'd like to go do this. I want to try that. I want to try that. But if you go and you want to go and take art classes, take pottery classes, take music lessons, you go out and you start going towards the things that you find interesting, then naturally you're going to start finding people who have the same interests as you, and then you're going to bond on a different level. And so you will find what you're looking for, but you have to go out and seek yourself in order to find what you're looking for. You can't just sit in a room and feel sorry for yourself that, what you're seeking isn't looking, knocking at your door. But I would say in order to find what you're truly looking for is you've got to seek yourself first. Because if you just go out looking for relationships, you're going to find that you're going to run into a lot of relationships that are there to teach you that you are lost, that you are not looking for what it is you should be looking for, because you're looking for a connection, but it's on a lower level, and it's going to show you that I just know that when I went out before thinking, looking for love or whatever, all of those were to teach me to love myself. And so in the way you get taught that is by people not loving you in the way that you think you should be loved. And so that the lessons come wrapped in paper that you don't recognize, because you can be out there, and then especially if you get in the trap of blaming others for how you feel. But once you start realizing, like, oh, I am trying to find somebody to love me, but they don't love me in the way I feel I should be loved, because I need to love me first, not depend on them to love me in order to feel good. You're never going to get there. You're never going to get to the place you want to be if you're always dependent on other people to give you what it is you want. You have to learn how to give it to yourself. And once you can give it to yourself, then you'll start meeting people on that level who are not trying to take from you. I swear to God, there's always creepy noises. Oh, Max. He makes these weird noises with his mouth, like he's doing kisses. He's always doing these little, like, kissy noises. Yeah, I saw this video yesterday, this girl, she was talking about, there's a thing about boy dogs and girl dogs that she had just learned or just heard about. And she said, boy dogs are always looking for you to acknowledge them, to give them approval so that they can feel like you like them. And girl dogs are much more independent. They'll just go and, you know, go take care of themselves. And I was like, that is so weird, because that is, like, the thing I've noticed about girl dogs and boy dogs is girl dogs are a lot more emotionally connected to you. They're more emotional. Like, Stella is very, you know, like this morning, I'm sitting there asleep and she starts whining because she's hungry and she wants me to get up. So she'll take a stand on, like, you know, through her emotions. And boy dogs depend on her to do that. They feed off of her. Like, if she wants a treat, if she wants food or whatever, they'll just line up like, oh, she'll get it for us. And but they are always under my feet. If I get up and start walking, they're right behind me, like, what's she gonna do now? What are we gonna do? What's she gonna do? You know, and they'll sit there looking at me like, you know, am I okay? Am I okay? Am I okay? And Stella, she'll just go and just lay outside. She'll just go do her own thing. I was like, that is so true about that boys are always seeking approval and seeking you to acknowledge them, and the girls are very much more independent. And I was like, that is weird, because in my group, and we'll see when Ruthie comes, because I think it's 2 weeks now until she comes, and which I'll take you guys with me when I go, is I'll be recording from there, because I'm gonna this week I'm gonna go work at the groomers, which this money from the grooming I'm gonna put towards the fence. So once I get there, I'm gonna take all my grooming money down and buy fencing, and so that when my brother gets there, he can put in a dog yard, like a dog run, you know, where they can go out and go to the bathroom. So I have a place where I can clean up their poop and stuff, and I'll free range in it all over the place. And then you're out walking and stepping in it everywhere. And then plus there's a confinement, so, which is a safety thing, because yeah, there's plenty of people out there who just, your dog came in my yard, so free range there. And it's like, you know, it's target practice for me. It's like, it's the light and the dark, the two energies. So, but as it's kind of like, as the light, you've got to see that it's up to you to protect your own. And so you have to create a parameter of this is my space, this is where we are right here, in order to keep them safe. But that's the only thing I see with those people. They should have at least, you know, something, a couple of acres, just a couple of acres out of your 40. Don't just let them run free like that. Because even if it's not, you know, these crazies, that could have been, you know, other animals or anything. It's, I don't know. You just got to keep them safe. They depend on you to keep them safe. It's sad, which, and I'll bring this up too, is like, don't let your dogs wear necklaces around their necks, any kind of collar or anything in the house. Take that stuff off. It is, so many dogs lose their lives from strangulation from those. They get hooked on things and stuff. And I just saw a video talking of a woman, and she said that just happened. You know, dogs wear their collars in their house and stuff, and they were upstairs putting the kids to bed, and there was some food on the counter. One of the dogs tried to jump up and get it, and got themselves hung on the handle. And when they came back down 10 minutes later, the dog was gone. And so, and then she was all tore up, so she wanted to make sure and spread that information. But I've heard so many of these stories, so many. Even on the cords hanging from your shades, you got to be careful of that. They'll get themselves tangled in those and get strangled. So you have to, it's like the same thing as when you have a kid and you have to baby-proof your house. You kind of have to dog-proof your house too. You got to watch out what's down on the floor that they can chew up. You got to, you know, if they're chewers, you got to make sure cords are up and hidden and stuff, because they'll sit there and chew through stuff and get electrocuted. So this is the same thing. is, you know, you're taking on this animal and it's depending on you to keep them safe. And, which this is so, there's so, like, in the dark with all these sick people out there. And there's this couple, and they're a good looking couple. This is the thing, you know, the surface means nothing. It's a good looking couple with good jobs, and they've been arrested. And I don't remember how they got busted. I think it's something when the links in their phone, or who knows how, you know, how all these people are getting busted. But that bestiality, like, oh my God. Yeah, they, to me, it was like, I don't know, maybe they all go to this level, and I just had not heard the description of the level that they will go to. But it is like, oh my God, it is so, so sickening. I just, oh, Jesus. I don't know why, you know, certain things to me just even gross me out even more than some other things. But, yeah, giving blowjob to a dog and then swallow. God damn, I don't know why that just grosses me the fuck out. Oh, and it's all, they've all got all this on tape. All this is the kind of stuff that this couple would do. And I don't even know what kind of dog they have. And I don't know how many dogs they have. It's like some people just get dogs and use them for fun. Some people use them for their fun is watching dogs get tore up by each other. Like, the sickness in this world, man, is so beyond. But it wasn't even just that. She took it in both directions. And it's all on video. She'd take it back there, she'd take it up here. She had this dog going to town on her. And then when that would be done, then the guy would enter the dog, and just have a little whole fucking dog orgy there going. And I was like, this is so disturbing. And what would be this dog's life after? Like, would it forget? Would it just be able to go and live a normal life after that? Would it have always some weird stuff that it would do? Would it be trying to mount you every time you were bent over? Like, would it, like, I don't know. Does a dog just forget and go about its business? Like, oh, that never happened. I just don't even remember anything about it. I don't know. It's like, God damn. Like, the sickness in this world is so beyond. Like, that's what I'm saying, man. Some of this darkness, it's like, I don't know. I believe in redemption. I believe in redeeming yourself. Like, whatever you've done, don't feel like if you are a seeker of not being of the darkness, then believe in that. You know, don't believe that the darkness can trap you. If you seek to leave the dark, but I would think the ones that are of the dark, they have no desire. They aren't seeking. They aren't trying to find, you know, their way out. And they're just enjoying the stuff that they do. And maybe their growth comes from the sickest things that we can imagine that grows them into more dark, more stuff. And, but, you know, back to this thing of, you know, taking down El Diablo and stuff, and all these people who have done these really heinous things are all going down again. It's like, why would you think then Donald is a part of that whole situation when he's the one who is he made it his mission to take them down, and now they're going. And also this whole thing with all these generals, let's all meet up and talk about what's to come. And at the same time, this stuff is, you know, like there's some kind of radar situation or something where this guy was trying to show, and there's fleets and fleets coming in, which, you know, another thing is, like, we don't know until stuff starts going down if this is their show, this is our government, or if it really is the beings that are coming in to try and help us, which is going to advance us. But there's going to be a lot of people who don't trust that. They trust these blues over, they trust the hot. It's so crazy how programming and indoctrination work. But, you know, it could be just the conflict of their next lesson that they're going to learn. So this could be just getting them set for their next life into what their next lesson is. Because, yeah, I don't know. I find this just trust, this blind trust, and, they can do no wrong all the time is being, that's exactly where they get away with it. And there's more and more, coming out with more and more of these people. Like, religion has been such a cover. It's been such a cover for people who have been evil. And just like these evil people, like I've said before, these evil people are considered blue. But that doesn't mean all the blue people are evil. That's what you got to see. You can't just lump them all together just because there's a big group. Just like all these other group, all these vamps that live off of parts and all this serum, that they are, it doesn't, well, I don't know. I kind of like, there's a lot of these vamps that are pretty bad, so I don't know. But I know that the blue, the Z's, they had to create a place to hide. And so that's, they created a whole narrative. You can't be anti. They have to have their own place. They have all their stuff. It's like it's a bunch of bullshit. It's just a place for these evil people to hide and use these other people to hide behind. And but at some point, you got to recognize, somebody's behind me, trying to hide behind me, and I'm not gonna, move out of the way. Let them be seen. And you do have a lot of people who consider themselves blue, who are waking up and seeing, like, this isn't, I'm not in alignment with this nonsense. And so more and more people are becoming outspoken against the real and what's going on. And but they got the RABVIs out there saying, well, it's just the way it is. There's too many people anyways. Got to get rid of some, and it makes our God very happy. Who is your God, by the way? Which I was thinking, because when I worked for that Blue Doctor, and it was back when I was really trying to understand a lot about different religions and everything. And I'd already gone towards reincarnation, which was a religion in its own, because everybody was like, what in the world are you talking about? But so he was practicing, and I had said, oh, can I go with you to, well, I think I called it church, but with you to the synagogue, to a service? I'd love to see what goes on. And he's like, no, you can only be blue and go. Nobody else can go. And now I kind of think like, well, is it because you're talking about division and the Gentiles are a bunch of worthless pieces of shit? And I'm like, that's why. It's a very hierarchy kind of sermon. I don't know. So anyways, but it isn't like we all have to agree and all of us have to say, oh, this is the good guy, this is bad. But we all have to find our own moral compass. We all have to find where we align with things, and also be open to fluctuation. Like, you can be thinking you align over here, but then you find out more, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait a minute, I don't align with that at all. I think a little bit more like this. And so you are in this wave form of creation, of finding your own expression of self, which in regards to your moral or ethical stance, because that relates more to your spirit, and that relates more to your light. If you are of the light, you're trying to seek yourself in this dark, which, I don't know. Again, we're back to, some of the people are just of the dark, I think. They're not seeking to be the light, but they are the conflict of interest that creates the opposing forces that we need to create the separation over where we are and who we are. But then, it always goes back. It goes back to the same thing. It always goes back to the beginning. And so that is why the yin and the yang is like it's always one chasing the other, and it's always goes back to the beginning. So it's just the way the universe works. That's why there's nothing to fear at this point. It's just, we're just in the mechanics of it. We're just in the, take the head off the clock and watch the mechanics go. That's all that's going on. There's nothing that's a finality. There's nothing that we need to worry about. This is just the way it goes, and goes over and over and over and over and over. But the best thing that happens is that you find clarity to self. You become recognizing yourself and who and what you are, and a sense of sovereignty and a sense of separation from the others. But in order to really find your deepest connection is to be accepting of all the others, so that you can find the unity of expression, of being the togetherness of all the energies coming together. So that's why it's going to be, for a while, such a beautiful experience once the separation occurs and all of the light finds the other light, and we all start creating. But don't think just because somebody doesn't make it into that part that they're not going to become into there. So there's going to be a lot of light that is not going to go to that part. There's going to be a lot of, it's going to be, it's like a scatter kind of, but there's going to be a big amount that's going to go and to become the two separate poles. It's like, so there's going to be a lot of light that goes to start creating this new reality of light, and then the dark is going to do its thing, which I don't know, just is kind of like, because at first it seemed like, is it going to just like recede? But it's impossible. It's impossible. I mean, it is where these, the beings from this reality, they're going to have to go start a new reality. And so they have to go somewhere else, because this reality is changing. This reality is ending, because it's overdone. It's played out. And so the separation will occur. And then, but anyways, I mean, that's what I see happening. And it seems clear to me. It's like you can see all around you, and you can see through people, and there is so much evil and darkness that's being exposed to us. But, like I said, that doesn't mean that they are bad. It just means that they are different than us. They are just like we're different than them. But to them, I think that we look weak, like we care or something. Like they just come together on a different level or something. I don't know, but the dark has to continue to exist. That's what I do know. Just as the light. We're just in a point of time of separation. And that the point of time of separation is the expansion. And so it's a good time, but it's also a hard time. It's like we all have to kind of shuffle around. We have to go through this chaos. But the best thing to do, I'm telling you, is look, be the seeker of self. Be always trying to understand yourself, cleansing yourself, cleaning out the demons in you, cleaning out the darkness in you, and be willing to look at yourself in a harsh way, and be real with yourself, but be kind to yourself. Always put the kindness to you that you believe that everybody should have. Like, you think everybody should be nice to each other. You got to start at home. You got to be nice to yourself. And that's why I've said a zillion times, you cannot love other people until you love yourself. So, and the world is here to teach you that. So, anyways, let's look at my hair. We've already looked at my tooth. And this thing, I don't know, it just keeps going crazy. It's always freaky. And then yesterday, I even started seeing like, oh my God, is there a spot over here? Is it just moving around? And when this starts erupting a lot, I do have more shadowing in my eye. So there is like a shadow that starts being like, so anyways, that's the world of sickness. But we're breaking free from the world of sickness. And which there is also, this is weird. I really think this Charlie and Erica and shit just gets weirder and weirder. But you know, I don't know what all Donald's thing was. Like, did he really own Miss Universe or Miss America contest? Did he own them? Was he the initiator of them? I thought he was the judge or something. Was he in support of it? Did he create a talent agency from it? I don't know. Like, you have to go in and really look if you really want to, you know, try and understand his whole connection to the whole thing. But what's weird is, like, Pam, you know, Bond and Erica were in the same pageants. It's like, man, it's weird. It is weird. Like, I still don't know. There's people who have gone and tried to debunk this Romanian thing, but Google has also come out and said, you know, like, they've been proven that they've been misrepresenting information and misleading people, and so they're going to be going down. Like, yesterday I got a thing from some YouTube thing or whatever. Oh, congratulations, you've got 325,000 views now. But I've gone beyond. I mean, once it got up to 2,000 followers, they just tipped it back and they won't let it go forward. They just kept it back. And so but what they also do is that they hold back views and stuff because they have to. I'm well beyond what I should have been monetized years ago. But yeah, they're not gonna be paying, you know, people to come out and wake people. They're not going to be pushing those videos of the things that we talk about and stuff. And so, anyways, there's still more to come on all of these different platforms, which the big talk is on the TikTok, because whatever, this whole thing of, you know, Donald's trying to manipulate it and all this, I don't know. I haven't been posting on there just because I don't know. I put most of my energy into this, and the other is just, it's so iffy and wishy-washy, and every time I do a video on there, they hold those back too. And that's a big difference, you know, when you have almost 50,000 followers and they only let you have a couple hundred views. It's just frustrating. And then on here too, it's the same shenanigans. So anyways, but I don't know. Sometimes it's like, oh, here, I'm going to slap you in the face a little bit. Look at this. Look how good you're doing, except for we're not going to let you do good. It's like, okay, so whatever. But anyways, you can't let that shit get you down. You just got to let it go and know what's meant to be is meant to be. What happens, happens, and let things go and move forward. And so, anyways, but we'll talk about it again tomorrow. Yesterday, I couldn't believe how that was just eating at me, that I didn't get to finish. And it just all of a sudden, it's the craziest thing how I keep on having this, you know, your storage is full. God, you're done. It's like no warning or anything. So anyways, I didn't get to say it yesterday, but we'll say it again today. We'll say it twice. So for yesterday too, is you got to remember what everything is going on. The most important thing is working on you. Learning how to love yourself, because so many people don't know how to love themselves, and that is that, you know, they're lost. They're lost in the dark. They're lost in the hate. They're lost in this energy, and you got to see the benefit behind the energy of it's promoting what it is you're here to work on. So learning how to love yourself, learning how to love everybody else, and learning how to have the day you want is what you need to do. So again, don't forget that you need to learn how to love yourself. You need to learn how to love everybody. You can't love everybody until you learn to love yourself. So learn to love yourself first, and then work on loving everybody else, which is a big job, because it's easy to find judgment. It's easy to feel like, oh, I'm better than you weirdo, especially in this world where there's so much evil being shown. But just remember that the universe needs it. The universe needs the evil too. And so they're doing their part. We need them just as much as we need everything. So, you know, it's the challenge is to work on not judging and being open and being free as the air. So, but learn how to love yourself, learn how to love everybody else, and learn how to have the day you want to have. And I think that you can't go wrong. So, anyways, but we will talk about it tomorrow, and we'll see what happens today, and then we'll talk about it tomorrow. So, talk to you later. Bye.